Hi, I'm Terry Brock, and welcome to this special edition of Achievement Update. We're joined with a special guest this time, Frank Furness, who joins us from London. Frank, thanks for being here.
Hey, great to be with you, Terry.
Well, we talked about a person that you had interviewed recently as a great entrepreneur and a person who started one of those great companies over in the UK called Cobra Beer, and really good beer, by the way.
Absolutely, wonderful.
And you were able to talk with him. His name is Karan, is that right? Karan
Bilimoria.
Okay, well, I was close. Karan Bilimoria, and a wonderful guy. I've been reading about him, and you had mentioned some of the things that he had talked about of be different, be better, and create new markets. And tell us a little bit about what he said when you talked to him.
Well, I've been working with Cobra Beer for a number of years now, and
You've been drinking it too, right?
I've been drinking it.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing about being different and being better. Every time I talk to them, I get home and my garage is full of beers. How's that?
Oh, that's a pretty good deal.
That's good customer service.
It is.
But he was CEO of the year about 3 years ago. Then he was entrepreneur of the year. And here's a guy who he is so different to anyone else. You can read all the things in the leadership books, but to actually work with someone that is superb like that is fantastic. He was standing in front of his troops one day and he said, this is why we're so successful. We look at the whole competition, we look at the whole market, and we ask ourselves 3 questions. How can we be different? How can we be better? And how can we keep creating new markets?
Okay, well, let's look at those individually then. So we're going to be different. What are some ways that you found businesses can be different to really stand out?
Okay, let's look at Karan again in being different. He says, I hire for skill, I hire for will.
Yeah, hire for will.
Train for skill.
Train for skill. Sounds like what Southwest Airlines does.
Yeah, absolutely. So I said, tell me some stories. Well, here's the first story. His sales director, who is now a millionaire. Quite a few years ago, Karan was hiring 2 new salespeople. He found them, and in the background was this guy from Sri Lanka saying, please give me a job. Karan said, I'm not going to give you the job. You're not qualified, you've never sold beer before, you don't know the market, and you can't speak English. Couple of problems working in London. The guy said to Karan, your 2 new salespeople, what is their target? Karan said, 100 cases of beer a month. He said, give me a target for next week. Karan laughed, said 100 cases. The guy went out not knowing anyone and sold 200 cases of beer.
200. Mm-hmm.
Karan hired him. He was working from a little apartment, 2-bedroom apartment. 1 bedroom was where him and his wife lived. The other bedroom was the office. And he would come home 9:30 at night, and there's Samson banging away on the phone. Said, Samson, what are you doing? It's 9:30 at night. No, this is the time the Indian restaurants are having the break. It's the best time for me to phone, and I don't go home until I've made 30 calls every night. Today is the sales director. Hiring for will. The lady who's the human resources manager almost runs the company right now. And her name is Janelle Bester. I said, where did you find Janelle? She used to be the sandwich lady that would come lunchtimes on a bicycle. She developed such great rapport with my staff.
In London?
In London.
Oh.
She developed such great rapport with my staff. They said, please give her an opportunity. I saw the will, I hired her, and now she's almost running the company.
So he's looking for the will, the people that say, I want to make it happen, and then the skill can be taught later.
Absolutely.
Makes sense. Okay. So now we're talking about to create new markets also. Tell us about the create new markets.
Okay, creating new markets. So he came into a market where it was very, very difficult. The beer market is almost impossible. Within a few years, he'd taken over all of the Indian restaurants, and that was his main aim. And then he said, where can we create new markets? Well, let's get into the supermarkets. Let's get into all the pubs, the bars. And he just kept creating new markets. And then he said, what about creating new countries? That only started in London. Today, they are in 52 countries. Let's create new markets. He bought a wine farm. Now they sell wines as well. Now that's what creating new markets is all about.
Yeah, and actually when they started their beer, it was a great concept initially because what, as I understand, it was because people like to drink ale. They liked the lager, but it was just a little bit fizzy and hard to have with the Indian food. And they realized, gee, people want Indian food, but they also want the lager. They need to do it. So he came up with the idea of Cobra Beer, which gives the ability to enjoy the Indian food with that. He found the need, and then he filled it.
Absolutely. And the way he did it is he went over to India not knowing anything, found a brewery and told them what he wanted, came back with a couple of dozen cases of beer, put it in the back of his car and actually went door to all of the Indian restaurants, please buy this. They chased him out. We've never heard of you, never heard of this beer. Look at them now.
So he started with, and I think it's an important point for those of us that are entrepreneurs, he started at that level, door to door, knocking on doors. Do you think anybody ever said no to him? You think?
About 99%.
Yeah, lots of no's, but he kept going. Now the company has a brand value of over 300 million pounds, not US dollars, pounds sterling. That's some serious money.
That's big money.
And so I think the lesson to us is find something, be creative, look at what the need is, where the market is, and come out with new things, and don't give up. Keep going after it.
Well, that's one of his sayings as well. It comes from Winston Churchill. Never give up. Never, ever give up. And he's got that everywhere, and he talks about it all the time.
Yeah, important to keep going, that persistence and determination. Excellent. Well, Frank, those are very good points, and we'll want to be sure and look up Karan, right?
Karan Bilimoria.
See, I'm going to get it right there.
You're getting it right there.
No more. And if Karan, if you're watching, hey, I'm looking forward to pronouncing it right and helping you help me on that. Maybe a beer would be good too. But we'll get that eventually, and so we can look it up with Cobra Beer and see what it is. I would encourage you to Google this, do a Wikipedia on it, and see what they've done, because it's good lessons for you and for your people. That as you're working with it, you can learn a lot about how to make successful business. And Frank, I'm not going to let you get out of here without telling us how we can find out about you. I know you've got some places where people can go and get information on some resources. What would be the place to go on that?
Oh, great, Terry. There's two websites. My main website, frankfurness.com, FRANKFURNESS.com. And I've got another website full of free resources, ebooks, all kinds of things, and that is frankfurnessresources.com. FRANKFURNESSRESOURCES.com.
You say that really well.
And please drop me an email if you've enjoyed this video, frank@frankfurness.com.
Excellent. Frank, it is always good to work with you, whether we're in London or Orlando or wherever we are in the world. Thank you very much for joining us, and thanks for the information on that.
Thanks so much, Terry.
Okay, have a great day.
Thank you.